Welcome everybody to our Fireside chat today. I'm Laura Scott from ADAPTOVATE. I'm a partner here in our Sydney office, and I'm joined by Srima McQuillan, who is Australia's leading transformation and change agent. We've worked together 5 years ago on quite a big transformation, and I thought it was a really good time to bring Srima in to talk to us all today about the 5 C's, a very simple framework, but one that we can hopefully break down some barriers for everybody today and explore. So Srima, welcome firstly, and love you to introduce yourself and take us through the 5 C's.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the generous introduction. Yeah, my name's Srima McQuillan, and I have worked in change and transformation for about 20 years in different industries, in different sizes of organizations. And what I see consistently with change is it is hard and can feel daunting if you are not set up for success. And I've seen everything from integrating thousands of people into a new company to trying to make a small company, a global company, agile with everyone working remotely. It's pretty challenging. Yes, and I would say my secret sauce to this is I look at change holistically. I look at how strategy and operations align, but I do it with empathy, because at the end of the day, the thing that is changing is something for the people. It's how you work, what you're doing. So you have to have empathy to bring them along the journey. And when we mention the 5 C's, it's a small little framework, but to me, it helps me think about the things to stay focused on. So the first one is clarity, and that's the why. It's what you're doing and why. And then communication, and that really helps bring everyone together around the vision. And it's about reaching out to everyone that's affected. Then we have collaboration, and that is essential. And that's about bringing not just an individual or a team, but everyone together to affect that change. And we have culture. Culture is a large topic, but culture really is a key determinant in whether a change is successful. And then we have the commitment, and this is by the company and by the leaders who are the most visible. And if you think about all those 5 aspects and how they work together, you can navigate change from the very beginning to the very end.
Yes. So let's start with clarity. Clarity is absolutely something from an organization perspective that we see is the number one thing that leaders need to align on. And when we talk about leader alignment, we talk about the why. So aligning on the why we need to evolve, aligning on the why we need to change and then evolve, or aligning on the why a team needs to come together and actually get in a room and discuss something. So talk to me about clarity for you and what it's meant for you on your journey as an executive.
Clarity is so important. I've been brought in the beginning, the middle, and the end of transformations. And often when I step in, the first thing I'd like to understand is, why are we doing this project? And especially at the later stages of transformation, when things might have shifted a bit. And like you, I think you have to understand the why. Why are we doing this? What is it getting for each and every employee? What's in it for them? I like to think about, what are the real benefits of this? I often come in and I'll hear, we're just changing our systems, which is a very broad brush stroke, because it's not just changing your systems. You choose a new system for a lot of reasons. And why is that? So I think when you think about why, you have to make sure that everybody's aligned around that purpose. And not only that, they understand how they fit in individually and within the larger goals. And I like to say clarity isn't just about knowing what to do, but it's about understanding why it matters and how it connects to those who are involved.
Yeah, beautiful. So we've been tying it together actually quite recently in clarity around people, processes, and technology, and wrapping that all up into one package and really getting clarity across the board so that the team can move forward with all those 3 elements. Beautiful. So let's talk about communication. How do you approach this during change? This is your superpower. I've absolutely seen you come into the company that we worked with together, and change a company who potentially weren't able to communicate from particular barriers that were in place, ways of working, strategy execution. How did you go about it from a communication perspective in that, element of change?
So communication is actually the heartbeat of your change. So I say communicate, 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 which seems silly, but I said it 6 times, and you probably remember that. And that's because science has told us it takes 6 times for something to sink in.
Beautiful.
So it isn't just about saying the same message in the same way 6 times. It's about thinking of different ways to say it. It could be about email, which lots of people love email via change management, but I highly encourage you to do other things such as team meetings, one-on-ones, find change agents. And I actually really encourage some really out-of-the-box creative thinking, because remember, this is on top of people's day jobs usually. So I'm thinking of an example of a digital transformation where we were putting in a new system, which people were really worried about. So we had our least technologically adept senior leader pilot it for us. So he sat down and we said, you have 90 seconds to input what you need.
Fantastic.
Go. And we didn't give any background. And he went and he just looked, and it was so user-friendly. He finished it. And it was so funny to watch him on his user interface journey. And that became a viral campaign. One, because he was fine to make fun of himself a bit. So it was great. He said, send it out. But 2, everyone, it gave so much awareness. They saw the system, they saw it was easy, and it just built trust in what we were doing. So we used a senior leader to help communicate. So that was absolutely one of the most effective 90 seconds of communication I've ever used.
Awesome.
And just think about, just like I said, it's the heartbeat. It has to be, communication succeeds when it's consistent, creative, and it connects with all the people in all levels.
Love it. So couldn't agree with you more. I think using senior leaders as change agents to help you to implement change, like brilliant. Absolutely consistency and no surprises. When we communicate a surprise or a big change that is coming to a team, and we do it in a way that dropping a email into or an invite rather into somebody's inbox as a surprise, knowing full well that we knew that it was coming, isn't great. Instead, let's plan for it. Let's get the elephants out in the room and actually communicate it in a way that we can control the narrative as well, so that we can then help execute that change in line with the bigger strategy. So brilliant. Love your work. Srima, I'd love to talk about collaboration now and the ways in which, from a change perspective, we can get leaders working across the business rather than in silos. So if you can take us through a change journey there.
Absolutely. So collaboration is essential for success. Collaboration can be in the beginning about brainstorming and bringing people from different parts of the business to help with the journey, because often large transformations affect more than just one piece of the puzzle. And sometimes we get myopic and we only bring in a few people from a very select area that are doing a change across the organization. So collaboration is a great way to start that journey that all companies want. How do we break down silos? How do we cross-train? So for me, that collaboration has other aspects that are really beneficial, and you can use change as that. But it also really helps people feel empowered. And for example, if you're doing a digital transformation, you bring people in at all levels to look at the program. You don't just look at the functional experts. You bring the users, and then you get people from the very entry level to the very senior buying into the process. So I love collaboration as a tool to affect change, to bring new change agents in, to get feedback, and to break down silos. And then it becomes more of a project that's for everyone. And I say collaboration makes change possible by turning individuals who are involved in change into a cohesive team.
Beautiful, love it. And it's really that creating that undercurrent of change and making it a positive thing through a co-design of the change in bringing everybody together. So brilliant. Okay, so let's talk about culture. So when we worked together 5 years ago, you helped bring the company from small company but global, and bring the company to a place where you were humming. And there was, Fridays, you would do a showcase from an agile perspective, and it wasn't just, everybody standing up there reading out. The team genuinely loved coming to showcase. There was drinks afterwards. There was a real community feel, and it was a celebration. So love you to talk to us about the culture.
Absolutely. So culture is the driver of success for change. So if you have a culture that's already innovative and adaptable, and they are used to thinking of new ways of doing things, change actually goes really smoothly because it's part of the way you operate. And that's why we put in Agile, because we knew you constantly had to change to be successful. So in those cultures, they're used to saying, what could we do differently? And that's a fantastic place. Change there, people go, change isn't hard. It is what it is. But if you have a culture where change isn't the normal mindset, or if you're in a highly siloed or regulated environment, change can be extra hard. So the first thing you want to do is show that change is beneficial and celebrate any wins you have along the way so people can start to embrace that change and go small. Build trust using your communication. Put the elephants out there. Say this is going to be hard. Acknowledge that. And then you'll get people to say they understand how I'm feeling. But if your culture struggles with it, that's probably where you need to start, is build that trust. And if you have like the littlest of wins, they may seem little. We just had our first release. You celebrate it. And then people know, A, this is serious and it's coming, but B, you care about us. And that's what people just need to feel a part of that journey. And so to me, I would say, when, especially in busy companies, when people see change as a relief and not a burden, the cultural shift begins. Because really, when it makes their job better, faster, more productive, they're going to embrace it.
Absolutely. And back to your point at the start, you do it with empathy, and then you will actually have change in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Love it. Okay. So commitment. There's varying different levels of commitment from a team perspective. How bought in are they? And then from a leader perspective as well. How much, buy-in do we need from leaders? How much does it come from the top? And what currents do we need absolutely from the bottom as well? So talk to me about commitment.
Well, commitment has to start at the top because the leaders have to be the role models. They have to walk the talk. So the commitment by the company is from the top, and that's committing to resources, that's committing to believing in the change, that's committing to navigating the difficulties in the change. It's ensuring that the team knows that this is important. So to me, when a leader demonstrates that in everything they do, whether it's talking about it in a team meeting or following up on emails, say, did you guys see that? Do you have any questions? That leadership commitment is essential. And it's not just them believing, but them committing resources, helping their team navigate it. And if people say, I don't have capacity, then that leader, that commitment says, I will find a way to have you help with this change.
And what about from a visibility perspective, like visibility, action-oriented?
Well, visibility is a really good one. So often in change, people will write emails and send them on behalf of someone. We've all seen that. But then when that leader walks around, they aren't talking about it. They send this beautiful email that they may or may not have written. They have to be visible and they have to be part of the change. Otherwise, people will catch on quickly. They're very smart, but they don't necessarily mean it. So as a leader, you have to be visible and you have to act on it. Like you said, the call to action has to be serious and change. And for long changes, which, there's some system changes that take 5 years, that leader has to fill up the resilience tank and the excitement tank and go for it all 5 years, the massive change marathon at all times. And it's just the only way that will get done is if the leaders say, I'm showing up, I'm visible, and I believe in this.
Yeah, love it. So Srima, you've talked through clarity, communication, collaboration, culture, and commitment. It's a very simple framework. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that where you've maybe seen where, somebody's, it's really not worked, and there's a really good lesson that we could give today from a example perspective, maybe from one of the companies that you've worked at, that we can have as a bit of a leave behind for the team?
Well, I would say the first question was what things worked and didn't work. Change doesn't stop when you finish the project. So I think if you really want the change to work long term, you have to reinforce it. You have to revisit it. And not only that, it has to become part of your business as usual, so that if you did do a big business model change or a system change or a cultural change, whatever you've done is now part of your business planning process. So if you've put in a new system, that system goes into the ecosystem and isn't viewed as this outside thing anymore. It's, the earlier you can put it into your regular business, the better. And I'd say, building on that, the things I've seen that haven't worked is when you have two parallel programs. You've got your business as usual program, everyone's overwhelmed, and then you've got this change program. So you've got people working at 110% capacity, and then you've got this program they can't quite understand how it fits in. They have no KPIs. They don't really see it in the business plan, but they've seen a change plan. The sooner those are one comprehensive company plan, and this is what we need to do over the next year, the faster the change will go and the better it will go.
Yeah.
Because you've aligned all the resources, the systems, the processes, the timelines. Yeah. You've made sure they don't overlap with regular, business as usual goals. Like I've seen change happen during, the end of year reporting, and then they go, I wonder why that change didn't work. Yeah. And you think, well, it's because it wasn't aligned with the rest of the business operating rhythm. Yeah. So the sooner you can do that, the better.
And absolutely, keyword alignment. From a people perspective, making sure the team that are implementing the change are aligned, the actual, helpers, the transformation team, hopefully, that are helping you, that they are aligned, making sure the team that you are working with are aligned on why, going back to our first C on why we need to change, and then absolutely cascading that to have a successful change program. Yeah. So thank you, Srima. Thank you, everybody, for spending time with us today, and we'll see you in the next series.